Hey, what's going on guys, Sven here and welcome back to another video. And today guys, we're gonna be taking a look at what is the best weapon in the game. So if you guys are excited for that, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Before we get into the video, there are a couple of the things that we need to clear up first. First of all, let's talk about the weapons. The main weapons that we're gonna be using are trident, sword, axe, bow, and of course a crossbow. Now I know we all had our moments where we were just kinda mining and a mob came at us and we didn't even bother to switch to the sword and just kinda killed it with the pickaxe. And I know we all killed mobs with the shovel and the hoe at least once in our lifetime, but of course they're not considered weapons, so we won't treat them as such. Second thing we need to talk about are the actual mobs that we're gonna be testing the weapons on. Now we won't be doing any testing on the bosses that we have like a Wither, Ender Dragon or even an Elder Guardian. We're gonna be testing the weapons on the three most common hostile mobs that we all know and love: Creeper, Zombie and Skeleton. Now I know the spiders are also common, but they're not hostile during the day, so we are just gonna go for those three. Before we get to the slicing and dicing of the mobs, I'm gonna warn you that I will go in depth with the health of the mobs, damage, and of course the critical strikes that we all deal with the melee weapons, and of course I'm gonna briefly go over some of the enchantments that we have. If we take a look at our weapons, we will see that the trident actually deals 8 damage, we have the sword that actually does 7 damage, we have the axe that does 6 damage, and of course we have bows and the crossbow, which are a little bit interesting. The main thing that makes bow so interesting is because it can deal 3 different damages and also has 3 different stages, which are low, medium and the max charge. The low charge, where we just kind of flick the arrow, actually does only 1 damage, which is half a heart. A medium charge does 6 and the max charge does 9 damage with a small chance to deal 10. I'm not really sure what causes it to do 10, but there's a little chance. Now the crossbow is also a bit interesting because it's actually different in Java and the Bedrock edition of the game. In Java, a crossbow has different damage outputs. A minimum is 6 damage, max is 11 and average is 9. I don't really know what affects that, I don't really play Java, so if any of you guys know, please let me know. But in the Bedrock, crossbow always does 9 damage, like the max power of the actual bow. I know some of you may already know this, but I wanted to mention everything so we can get an accurate representation of what is the best weapon in the game. Keep in mind that we are not testing what weapon is going to give us the most drops, since nothing would actually beat the good old looting tree sword. We are testing the pure damage of the weapons and finding the strongest and most consistent one of them all. There is not much we need to say about the health of the mobs, since they all have the same health. Creeper has 20, Zombie has 20 and the Skeleton has 20, which represents 10 hearts, same as a player. Melee weapons have a tiny bit of an advantage in form of different enchantments for different mobs and of course a critical strike. What is a critical strike, you ask? Well, a critical strike is an attack that deals over the double damage of any tool or weapon, and it can only be performed while falling. So to do the critical strike, you either have to fall from something and hit a mob before landing, or as commonly done by jumping and attacking while you're falling. If you just jump and attack, nothing will happen because you need to be in that falling motion. Let's talk about the enchantments, and the most commonly used one for the melee weapons such as sword and the axe, which is of course going to be the sharpness, which has the max level of 5. Sharpness enchantment is also another thing that's different in Java and the Bedrock edition in the game. In Java, each sharpness level actually adds 0.5 damage. So that means at level 1 is going to do 1 damage, at level 2 1.5, then 2, then 2.5, and of course at level 5 it's going to add 3 damage, which is going to be 1.5 heart. But in Bedrock, however, each level adds 1.25 damage, which is more than double what we have in the Java. So the levels go as follow. At the level 1 sharpness we're going to have 1.25 damage, then 2.5, then 3.75. Going at level 4 of sharpness we're gonna have 5 damage bonus, and of course at the max level 5 sharpness we're going to have 6.25 more damage. Another enchantment that I was actually considering was Smite, but the Smite only works for undead mobs, so it will work for 2 of our mobs, which are Zombie and the Skeleton, but not for the Creeper, so because it's not really consistent, it has to be eliminated, and we're not gonna be using it for this test. As far as enchantments go, for the trident, yes, it does some crazy stuff, but it requires either for you to be in the water or to have a rain or a thunderstorm. Crossbow also has some really nice enchantments, but nothing that would actually increase the damage. And that brings us to my personal favorite weapon, which is of course going to be a bow. Now, if I could only use one weapon for the rest of Minecraft, I would definitely pick a bow. That reminds me, if you guys can actually use only one weapon for the rest of Minecraft, let me know in the comments what it would be. Mine would be bow because I just absolutely love it. But of course, main enchantment that we're gonna be focusing on for the actual bow is the power enchantment. Power increases the damage of an arrow by 25% per level. So basically 25% of the 9 damage that we get from max charge bow. Means that technically we're supposed to get 2.25 damage per level, but the game actually runs it up to nearest half a heart. So that means that the max damage of level 5 power bow is going to be, wait for it, 23 damage, which equals to 11.5 hearts, and these mobs that we have right here in front of us and the actual hearts of the player are equal to 10, so you can see the bow is basically going to one-shot the mobs and of course a player if it's not wearing any armor. Knowing all of these things, we're gonna have a little bracket. First of all, we're gonna have the trident at the beginning, since it's kinda mixed between the melee and the ranged weapon. At the top we're going to have the melee weapons such as sword and the axe, and on the bottom we're going to have a bow and a crossbow. We need to eliminate some stuff, so we're gonna start off with the trident. Since you need different requirements for the enchantments to actually work, it's not really consistent and it's not going to one-shot any of these mobs, so it's going to be the first thing that we're going to eliminate. Moving on to the melee weapons, sword and the axe. The axe has lower damage even with the enchantments such as sharpness. The sword is going to have 13 damage, which is going to be more than the axe. So basically, technically, we have to remove the actual axe. Going to range weapons, which are bow and the crossbow. Although again, crossbow really has some crazy enchantments, it can't actually compare to the power of a power 5 bow. Which means that the bow is moving to the finals with the sword. Those are the words I thought I was never going to say, but I said it right there. Of course, you guys can probably guess what is going to be the winner, but it wouldn't be fair if I didn't go over some pros and cons of each of the weapons before declaring the ultimate one. Of course, even with the enchantment Sharpness 5, only way for the sword to actually one-shot the mob is to get a critical strike, which puts you to the danger because you are really close to the mobs. And of course, that's only for the Sharpness 5 Diamond Sword, and even Sharpness 5 Diamond Sword can't compare to the power of a Power 5 Bow, which will one-shot all of the mobs that we have right here and most of the others. Also keep in mind that the bow actually keeps you on a safe distance between the mob, and you can basically shoot them from the safety of your home. So, the overall winner and the answer to what is the best weapon goes to the drumroll please, bow! Yes, the bow is the ultimate weapon in Minecraft history. It keeps you on a safe distance from the mobs and it can also one-shot most of them. And of course, come on, look at the crafting recipe, some string and some sticks, you can't really get any better than that. So that's pretty much all there is for this video. Again, what is the best weapon in the game? Bow! Again, let me know in the comments if you could use only one weapon and one weapon only to kill every single mob in the game, what it would be. Again, for me it's obviously going to be the bow because I don't know how would I live without the bow right there. So if you guys have enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe if you're new. If you think any of your friends would enjoy this type of content, make sure to share with them. But as always, I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.